If you've tried to be a runner but couldn't get past the first week or two because it sucked real bad, let me be the first to tell you that I've run ultra marathons, qualified for Boston, and when I've had to take time off and get back into running, it sucked real bad for me too. You are not alone. The first month of getting into running or back into it can be one of the hardest, but having done it a few times, I've come up with a foolproof way to make the running routine stick. And that's what I'm sharing today to fast track you and your training to help you make a consistent part of your life. Welcome to Biz Vibe. I'm Vivian Camille, or Coach Viv. I help runners slow down so they can run fast towards joy, alignment, and true contentment in training and racing. If that's something you're interested in, consider subscribing or working with me one-on-one. I work with all levels of runners and have a few spots on my roster for incoming athletes. This phase is all about creating habits, weaving them into the fabric of your life so they become part of your identity. As a running coach, I always encourage athletes to listen to their bodies and pay attention to those signals, but never ever make excuses, especially in this first phase. It's especially important to not make excuses in this first phase of getting into it. When I talk to people who want to be runners but can't stick with it, I like to start with two questions. The first one is, how long did you try running for? Most people last 3 days to a week and then give up. That is not long enough to feel the running high people talk about. I hate running when I first get back into it. It takes a while for the body to adjust. And that's coming from someone who's run 100Ks. You have to give yourself a chance to actually enjoy running. And when you first get started, that means sincerely committing to getting out the door for at least a month or two. The second question I ask is, if you really did commit to running for 2 months straight, really gave it a chance, and you still hate it, have you ever considered another form of exercise? While I'd love to believe running is for everyone, we all vary in what makes us come alive. There are so many sports out there to keep us active and moving. Why waste your time doing something you hate? If you are just trying to get in shape, find something that's fun. I think running is the most fun because I can do it anywhere with minimal equipment and by myself or with friends. It's awesome. And I promise once you get through the first month or two, make it part of your routine, you'll be surprised by how invigorating a daily run can be and how it affects many other aspects of your life positively. I hope that jazzes you up to commit to a month of running to see how fun it can be. If you don't think you can stick with it, give me a call and we can work together and make it happen. Now, creating a habit that sticks is about building a new pathway in the brain. Whoever they is, says it takes 21 days to create a habit, but it's not so much about the days, it's more about how many times you do the thing. The more times you do it, the quicker you can build that pathway. So the more times you put on your shoes and get out the door, the better. The first step is just that. Put on your shoes and step outside or drive yourself to a gym. This is an appointment. Think about a place in your schedule that a 15 to 30 minute run could fit. Is it the first thing in the morning? Maybe it's your lunch break at work or every day after you get home from work. Find that place in the schedule and commit to putting the shoes on and getting out the door like it's just another meeting in the day, except this one is for you. If you don't even run, you just put on your shoes, you are still creating a habit, and that's a win. If you wake up, put your shoes on, open the door, step outside, then head back in and fall asleep, that's a win too. If you get home, put your shoes on, walk a few miles instead of run, it's a win. More often than not, once you've already put on the shoes, you'll be motivated to do more than just open the door. This is not a negotiation. This is going to be a staple in the day. You don't go back and forth about whether or not you're going to brush your teeth in the morning, you just do it. When you need a shower, you don't talk yourself out of it because it's going to be too hard or it's hot. You just take a shower. That is the goal with this step. You put your shoes on at the same time every day, maybe after you brush your teeth in the morning even, and get outside. No negotiation. Consistency beats intensity. Once you're outside, pick an easy loop that will become automatic. Start small, the first week with a mile or two, or maybe it's just 10 minutes. Pick something small, manageable. One of the biggest mistakes is trying to do too much too soon. If you're getting into running or coming back after a break, don't aim for a 10-mile run on day one. It's better to run a little every day than to overdo it and end up sidelined. Consistency beats intensity. Start somewhere manageable and make that distance automatic. We can increase the speed and distance later. We want to automate this process as much as possible and take out the thinking part of it. Again, this is not up for negotiation. The more you can limit barriers and excuses, the better chance of success. If you have a loop in your neighborhood that you run every day, you don't have to think, I don't know where I'm going to run today. Guess I won't go. No, it's the loop. That's where you're going to run every day. This is an extension of putting your shoes on, getting out the door. Now you know where to run. We need to standardize before we can optimize. This step also takes out the question of, am I doing it right? Is this the best way to do it? If you're getting out the door and moving, you're doing it right. Is this the most efficient? Maybe not. But the best way is consistency, and that is what we're trying to achieve today. So you're getting out the door, you're doing the loop, the process has been standardized. Now it's time to talk about expectation management. It's a huge part of my job as a coach, and often it's the difference between whether you love running or hate it. Unreasonable expectations and anything can quickly turn something fun into something you dread. So often I hear new runners going out for a mile run like it's a time trial or race day, expecting to be able to run the pace they could during their peak high school track days. Other people try going out for a 3-mile run without walking, and when they have to walk, they start beating up on themselves for having to walk instead of celebrating the fact they knocked out 3 miles on foot after 2 years of doing nothing. When we were kids, we ran for the fun of it. We played tag. We ran to climb a tree because we were so excited. Tap into that kind of energy, that spirit of running with no expectations. On our example neighborhood loop, let go of any expectations other than finishing for the first couple of weeks. If that means you need to walk for a minute, then run a minute. If you need to slow down to get through the miles, slow down a little. The goal is to keep showing up, to keep strengthening those brain pathways, so this becomes something you look forward to. If your expectations are way too high, you will feel like you're falling short every time you go out. It is not fun to feel like a failure every day. That sucks. The expectation that you should get faster each day or go further every time is also bogus. I promise you that if you're consistent, you will start to see progress. But too often, people expect to get faster each day and are disappointed at the end of the week, then quit because they don't feel like a natural. Reality check. The elites don't even expect to get faster every single run. The last pitfall here I'll mention is giving the aches and pains too much attention. The knees might be achy, the Achilles could be sore, but if you're gradual with your training, these things usually pass, and they're just the body's way of adapting to the miles. If after a month you still have pain, it might be time to see a professional, but most of the time, the niggles that arise when you're first getting into running are just the body's way of adapting to the load. Work through it, give yourself a day off if you really need to, and then jump right back in. Never miss 2 days in a row. Understand that this whole process is about making running a part of your identity. Eventually, we will transcend the runner's identity, but that's for another day. Today is about casting votes for your identity as a runner. James Clear puts it this way in his book, Atomic Habits. You're not worried about getting in shape. You're focused on becoming the type of person who doesn't miss workouts. You're taking the smallest action that confirms the type of person you want to be. Think about who that person is and how they would act. Then take actions to reinforce that identity. If you keep responding to people with, I could never run a 5K, a 10K, a 100K, fill in the blank, then you will never run a 5K. Maybe you can't wrap your head around running one, but you know you could walk one. Maybe you don't think you could walk one, but you know you could put your shoes on and walk 10 minutes every day. Start somewhere, stay consistent, and let that progress you see snowball until you believe with enough training and consistency you're capable of anything. Running is far more than just getting into shape. It shapes the way we think about ourselves. If you can make it a habit, get over the first hump of this sucks, the confidence, belief, and strength you'll produce from the simple act of one foot in front of the other will be worth it. I promise. Now, if you have tried every single thing time and time again, but you still feel like nothing is working, consider working with me as your coach. It's easier to navigate the pitfalls, have accountability, and stay consistent when you get to do it with somebody who's done it before. I really appreciate you all for watching. Thank you so much. If you are just getting started, let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from you all. Any tricks or tips that are helpful, share those too. I will see you next time. Happy trails. Bye.